A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Afshan, and I'm extremely delighted to be welcoming each one of you for today's event, the Digital Dialogues Season 2, Industry 4.0. In episode 3 of the Digital Dialogues, we will be focusing on autonomous industry. Well, Digital Dialogues is brought to you by Dell Technologies in partnership with NASSCOM and is powered by Strategic. Can you please sit back and make yourself feel absolutely comfortable while we shall be commencing episode 3 in just a few minutes. We have an immersed set of industry and technology discussions curated for you over the next hour or so. India's cricketing legend Kapil Dev will be with us as always at the end. And he will take forward our discussions from where we left them in the last episode. And I'm sure it's extremely interesting to hear anecdotes from his amazing journey. We will definitely look forward for it. The next segment is titled The Digital Dialogues and is going to be moderated by Mr. Arjun Vishwanathan, Chief Research Officer, Strategic.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Digital Dialogues, Season 2, Industry 4.0. I'm your host, Arjun Vishwanathan, and today I'm going to be in conversations with two very, very eminent gentlemen from industry. Please join me in welcoming Mr. N.C. Chakrabarti, Vice President, Smart Manufacturing, Reliance Industries. Mr. Chakrabarti, pleasure that you could join us, and we are very delighted to have you with us, sir.
Thank you.
And Amit Saluja, Senior Director and Center Head, NASSCOM Center of Excellence. Amit, pleasure you could join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, gentlemen, I'm going to kind of directly get into the conversation because I know for a fact that we have a very, very interesting set of conversations planned today. Because the whole concept is that today, manufacturing organizations are tending to rely on technology for pretty much everything, from transforming their operations, in everything from production efficiency to product customization, with improvements in speed to market, service effectiveness, and new business model creations. Now, Mr. Chakrabarti, I'm going to come to you directly, sir. Is in your view, how can organizations gain the ability to manage product innovations through the development process and leveraging the whole concept of automation and autonomy? How can they deliver superior business value, sir? I come to you.
Yeah, well, thank you. So far as product development lifecycle is concerned, it is now extremely important to capture the data, share, and reuse the knowledge across the functions, from concept to final product delivery. For optimum product development life cycle, it is important to have a system that not only capture all the data throughout the development life cycle, also to have a seamless streaming of information from function to function without any discontinuity. And recent advancement in machine learning algorithms, availability of data, and enhanced computation power are being used to solve varieties of problems now. And these are helping to make the business function connected one. When business functions are connected and seamlessly integrated with the data flow from one function to another function, the siloed form of work is broken and the efficiency of different function increases. To cite an example, I just would like to give an example. At present, we are having a dire need of having a COVID vaccine. This is very well known to all of us. And if we think about the product development life cycle of the vaccine, it starts in the laboratory developing the molecule, testing it. And once testing is over, testing on the some animals and some human beings. Once it is successful, then it goes for production. And so now, at this time when we very urgently need the vaccine, we don't have any time. So if we are not the seamlessly integrated complete process from development of the molecule to the production floor, we will be going back and forth from different functions to get the information to efficiently and quickly develop, manufacture the vaccine. So at this time, when we have a huge computation power and the platforms are available for us to seamlessly flow the data, this will be now helpful when the vaccine is successfully trialed. Manufacturing will be much quicker to bring it to the people.
That's an interesting set of conversations, really, because Amit, I am going to bring it to you. Now, you're at the center of technology. You have a very wide vista and a spectrum of the entire horizon of how industry is today functioning. Now, what Mr. Chakrabarti brought about on the concepts of platformization, product development, and the entire life cycle, how do you see the whole concept of autonomy helping industries to achieve more, to become more agile? How do you kind of see that playing out?
Yeah, hi. I think good morning, everyone. So I think Mr. Chakrabarti brought about a great point, starting with the data. Data becomes the crux for everyone. And what Connected Solutions does is basically ensure that the information is complete. It is available at any point of the time when the business needs it, right? From any place and from maybe any kind of a device. So that's what the Connected Solution does. And what it creates benefits for the organization is it helps in building products at a much higher speed. The speed to market increases. The whole design process, in this case, design for manufacturing, comes at a much kind of a lower cost because there is a very early detection of the defects. So that's where the whole development life cycle increases. And since there is a methodical way of kind of building the design, this also reflects in the quality of the product that gets produced. So I think right from end to end, right from start to the product conceptualization, to the product development, to the finally the manufacture of that product, that is something improves in terms of quality and in terms of the speed to market. So that's what the Connected Solution kind of helps to the organizations.
So, Amit, if I could stick with you, then the whole concept of capturing data and its value at scale, in your estimate, and I will come to you, Mr. Chakrabarti, on the same thing, is in your estimate, how should organizations, in the background of industrial resilience, industrial agility, leverage the whole concept of IoT, sensors, to really drive sense going forward, considering it's all the more important today than ever before?
Correct. And while you're talking about sensors, I think you started this whole conversation with a very nice, powerful point of sensors and all the data acquisition and the digital. It helps in improving the efficiency, productivity, and safety at the organization. So these are the three kind of broad pillars. And this is what the Industry 4.0 does. And what it happens is at a different functions of the manufacturing organization, that value increase happens. So maybe I'll start with the supply chain, right? So supply chain is the start where you're trying to understand the product demand. You're trying to understand when my supplier will give me the material, what is my inventory level, how much I need to produce. So there is a lot of decision making happens. And with the current level of uncertainty that the manufacturing companies are having, this becomes the very kind of critical element. So the analytics based solutions to do the demand forecasting, and I will say not just the demand forecasting, the demand sensing now, because demand sensing ensures that we are doing this analytics at a very short level also because of the some unknown parameters which has come in. So that's the very powerful way to do it. Then logistic tracking, I think a lot of companies have already started doing it using the sensors to ensure that we are tracking our products, both the raw material and the finished products, where they are, and also the quality of the product while it is during the transit. Next step comes up is on the asset management, right? All our machinery, the resources that we have, how do we ensure that those assets remains in a good health? Analytics also helps in the predictive maintenance.
Indeed.
Of these different machinery there. So the timely tracking of the data and using that data predict when there is a possibility of a failure in a machinery. that really helps in planning the whole shutdown process or the maintenance process within the manufacturing plant.
That's very interesting because I'm going to take that to you, Mr. Chakrabarti. And we are currently at the stage where capturing data and therefore putting it to use to capture equally value at scale has become an imperative. What and how do you, in your estimate, leverage the technology to approach that, well, fairly complex journey?
Okay, so far as data is concerned, Amit talked about very important points about the IoT things. I'll go to, before going to the questions, I'll add one more point here is that at the present situation, we have enhanced capability of storing the data. However, though we have that, we are not capturing a whole set of data. Maybe around 70% of the required data we are capturing and 30% of the data are being lost. And this is because of our plants or the processes are maybe old. That time it was not possible, but nowadays we have the capability we have of sensors, and we developed with those sensors. Now it is possible to deploy IoT type of solution to capture all this data. Not only that, with that we are now with the IoT and edge equipment, we are now not collecting all the data and sending the server, increasing the traffic. We are actually doing the calculation where the data is born in the edge equipment. And with that, we are enhancing our predicting capability much more than earlier. And in this complex scenario, as you talked about, it is not very easy that every function's data is being captured, and using those data, we are calculating or predicting the future of our businesses, maybe. However, with this challenge, with the computation power increased, and with the invent of the new algorithms, faster algorithms, we are now able to apply apply those with a huge crunch of data and with low latency, and realizing the value of the data in terms of prediction and prescription to our operation. Yes, but
very powerfully put, because then it brings me to an important question: is with data in its foundational role, how, Amit, if I could come to you with your permission, please. How, therefore, and given the need of the day today, in a lockdown, in a pandemic kind of a situation, how do you think organizations, manufacturers, industry by itself, can transform employee experience by establishing safe, clean, and modern industrial environments?
Very important question, Arjun. Right now, the manufacturing organizations are in a kind of deep problems. The workforce availability has become a big bottleneck for everyone. Right? So the workforce is not available. The skilled workforce has kind of migrated. So it's kind of an always challenge. And when the employees are coming to work at either at the plants or at offices, I think one thing which becomes the bare minimum for us is to provide them safe and clean environment. That's the kind of a must. So I think that maybe the next, I mean, what many companies have already started doing it is using the digital solutions to ensure that the workplaces are safer and kind of a safe place to work. Different kind of a solutions which has been started in user. One is the social distancing. So we need to ensure that within the offices or within the plants, worker maintain an appropriate social distance. And for that, sensor-based solutions are there that automatically tracks the distance between the kind of two workers. And these sensors can be placed anywhere, I mean, either in the ID card, or it can be maybe as a wearable device. It can be done.
It can be embedded pretty much everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah. So these sensor basically can track the distance between the two workers, and then create a report at the end. Who were the people who kind of came in contact? Who were the people who, yeah. So the contact tracing and everything can be done, and alerts can also be issued. Second thing that we need to do is, and I'm sure many organizations are already taking this, is the touchless systems. So all the biometrics attendance system, I think it has definitely gone away. Talking about face tracking based applications that looks at you and then gives you all the access based on that. Right? It manages the attendance, it manages the overall control. Now, the third one is the most important one, which I will talk about, is the remote health monitoring of the workers. When workers go and work in a plant in a hazardous area, or sometime working alone, or like workers are going to boilers and then doing certain kind of maintenance. So we need to kind of ensure that they are in a good health at that point of time. So there are, again, the sensor based solutions are there, which goes into the PPE of the worker, whether it is helmet or vest or again a wearable device. And these sensors transmits the data of the environment and of the health parameters of the worker, which includes the temperature of the worker, the blood pressure, heart rate, any kind of fall detection. And these data is continuously
is being fed into, yes,
fed into the system, so that any kind of an issue happens, automatic alert goes to the supervisor.
Very powerfully put. Very powerfully put. Because Ms. Chakraborty, now you are Vice President for Smart Manufacturing, and I'm presuming that worker safety, employee well-being, health, wellness by itself becomes all the more important in a manufacturing setup. How would you rather guide our audience towards creating safer and healthier and hygienic shop floors, really? How would you kind of build that story around?
Yeah, as Amit has said, this is now important that we are tracking the health of our employees, whether it is in the office or is in shop floor. So actually, the presently these situations are the prevalent that we need to do those things, and we are doing those things in our factories. Everybody in factories, they are actually using the data now. So when a person, the number of people we are having at our site at some location, those are being completely tracked with the sensors, wireless network. Also, the shop floor things. When we actually especially if I talk about the hydrocarbon industry, this is very important that not every employee should be roaming around everywhere. So designated people should be roamed around designated places whenever it is required. Otherwise, they should not be in the field because they're always in contact of carcinogenic material. So it is very important to track the area so that when there is a requirement of people, only sufficient number of people will be there. If there is more people, the alert system will be activated, telling the other people, saying that there is more number of people at some places, there might be something. Or all these situations, if there is a spillage of hydrocarbons, all these things are tracked using computer vision technologies and cameras. And so all these things we should adopt as fast as possible, and it has become more relevant now in this COVID situation because we are not having so many people to monitor other people. So we need to have the technology to monitor in absence of us. Yes, we are.
Which kind of brings me to a very important question, gentlemen, is now the Honorable Prime Minister's call towards an Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Digital India mission. The whole concept of Make in India, not just for India, but also for export. How do you think smarter factories, smarter industries can lead to an overarching concept of nation building, while obviously also creating sustainable growth and innovation? Amit, if I could come to you on that, with your permission.
Sure. From the growth point of view or from the kind of sustainability point of view, I think the two factors that comes up is we need to reduce the cost and we need to increase the revenue. So anything that we do will be around this. Now we talked about the connected solutions which are there. Right? So these are the kind of solutions which are helping improve the speed to market, and that's where creates a better customer engagement and in a very powerful way impacts the revenue of the organization. Now, coming back to the cost, how do we, which becomes the most important element right now for the every manufacturing company, how do we reduce the cost? And for that, I think we all know about the cyber physical systems. Right? The cyber physical systems are the systems where machine and human being talk to each other. There is
Clearly the collision between the physical and the virtual.
physical and virtual, absolutely. So there is an integration of the IT and the OT data is happening, which is what is creating a very powerful way to understand every process at a minute level. So that right now, if you see in a plants, data acquisition is happening at every level. Every process we are having a sensor and which acquires the data, so that we have all the right data points with us. Then with the analytics, with the models based using the machine learning and other models that has been created, we are creating an insights out of them. And those insights are helping us in creating the right decisions for our operations, for our employees, and for our customers, and for all our vendors. Right? So those decisions are helping us in reducing the cost. We are able to do much better optimization with using this data. The most important element is that data is there from every function, from every element of the process. So we have a unified view of the data and the analysis of which leads to the better results or the optimized things. So that's how I think the whole growth can with the manufacturing companies.
Very, very impactfully put, really, because Mr. Chakraborty, I'm going to come to you with the same question. How can smarter factories become the foundation for a truly Atmanirbhar Bharat? For Make in India, what's your view on the entire?
Yeah. This is an excellent discussion here, and I'm very happy to that I'm discussing on this one. If I actually go back a little bit to the history, whenever there is a manufacturing productivity that deteriorated, the industrial revolution happened, the first, second, and third industrial revolution. And when the first industrial revolution helped us eliminating the human slavery from factory, second, it actually eliminated hunger from the earth, and third, it's transformed ourselves from analog to digital. That was the initiation of our maybe fourth industrial revolution. And now in this fourth industrial revolution, where we are adopting all advanced technology, the AI, the 3D printers, AR VR, advanced robotics, everything. And these are going to boost our productivity by at least 30%. Now, as we talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat, think about the first to third industrial revolution. It was purely led by Europe and US. Now, in the fourth industrial revolution, where India have a strong footprint in software development and servicing the whole world, and whole world is depending on India, you can say, maybe. So we are now participating in big way, leading the fourth industrial revolution. And as we are participating, and we are also developer or initiator of industrial revolution 4.0, and we are going to be self-sufficient on these technologies by us. And that's why we technology fraternity are going to help India to become Atmanirbhar.
Very, very, very well put, really. But I do have a view on the clock, so I'm going to come to you, Amit. Beg your pardon. In your view, with the diverse audience that is sitting here, what is your, and in your experience and estimate, the essential guidance they should leverage in the concept of smarter industries, in the concept of autonomous manufacturing? What are those pieces of essential guidance that they will need for them to navigate this journey towards better resilience, higher growth, the betterment of the economics of the whole concept by itself, and of course, sustainability? What is your view, Amit Saluja?
Yeah, sure. So I think we have already talked about the different solutions which are there and which can help the manufacturing companies. Now, to make sure that happens, and I think I keep talking about it, is the whole approach to kind of make it happen. While we understand that the manufacturing companies, when you're on the digital journey, it's always not clear where I should start, what I should be doing, which areas I should focus, whom I should go, what is my priority. So a lot of these questions comes up. So always kind of an help is there. And like from NASSCOM also, we are helping manufacturing companies in understanding the kind of challenges, and also what kind of solutions are helpful, what kind of what is the best way to move forward. And something that I'll definitely ask manufacturing companies to do is use the design thinking as an approach, because that's what helps in identifying the right challenges and then finding out the priority and then move forward with the implementation. Second thing I will say to all the organization is to leverage this ecosystem, which kind of I think you all are developing on. Ecosystem, what I mean is the technology companies, startups, and the academia. Right? So help is there, but only thing is, you need to kind of come forward and ask for help. There are good number of startups who are there now, who are building innovative solutions every day on the on related to this. We in fact did a manufacturing challenge recently, and in that we took 3 problem statements from the manufacturing companies and then hosted at a national level challenge with support from MIT. And so when we got overwhelmed response. 88 startups applied for it. We went through 2 months of a rigorous evaluation process, and finally we announced those 3 winners. So, and when you talk to those 3 winners, you will be amazed the kind of capability and the innovation that they bring to the table. So I think that a lot of help is available.
I can completely imagine, but I do have a view on the clock. Mr. Chakrabarty, your concepts on how smarter manufacturing today and smarter industries today can lead to a significant, or be the foundation really for significant nation building.
As far as the industry's contribution for national building, I see that once we self-help ourselves and we develop ourselves, we are helping our country. So the first thing is, we need to survive. We need to improve our workflow, and we need to contribute to our peer industry. So there is a lot of collaboration required among the industries. Instead of competing, there's a lot of collaboration that will give us more adoption of this technology, that will be helping ourselves more. In turn, we will be helping our country more. So that's the one way I understand.
No, but I think that was very, very nobly put. And I think it is the clear need of the hour for a reliant India, for an agile India. I think smart manufacturing and the whole concept of smarter industries needs to find its feet with the whole concept of automation and autonomy. So gentlemen, thank you. That's pretty much what we have time for in this segment of this episode. Mr. Saluja, Mr. Chakrabarty, thank you so much. We are delighted and privileged that you could join us today. It has been nothing short of wonderful hearing you.
Arjun, if you allow, I just want to make a one
Please,
request
by
to
all
all the
means,
listeners, all the
Amit, by
listeners.
all
So as
means.
I said, from NASSCOM, we are always there to help the industry. So we in fact are running our next challenge, which gets launched in October. So I formally invite any manufacturing who would want to kind of take help in solving their big challenge. I mean, do reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to kind of take it that and post it as a challenge.
Absolutely, folks. You heard Amit Saluja from NASSCOM. Throw open the challenge for smart and intelligent manufacturing. The challenge going to be open. Please reach out to Amit Saluja at NASSCOM Industry 4.0. Gentlemen, thank you so very much. Privileged to have been with you.
Thank you.
Pleasure talking. Thank you.
Lovely. And to the audience, stay tuned. We'll be back in a short while.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please stay tuned. Our next segment is titled Strategy in Motion and will be moderated again by Mr. Arjun Vishwanathan, Chief Research Officer, Strategic. Over to you, sir.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back. I'm your host, Arjun Vishwanathan, and I'm going to be in conversation today with industry specialists, industry leaders in their own right, about how the whole concept of autonomous industries, the whole concepts of machines making split-second decisions based on real-time data, and therefore the concept of Industry 4.0 will enable not just smarter factories, but also tremendous data to facilitate decision-making in product management and product engineering. With the IoT and artificial intelligence promising to enable a new surge of manufacturing productivity, it is perhaps no wonder that by and large, it looks to be accelerating core functionalities like asset performance, reduction in downtimes, and increase in product quality, while creating safer workplaces for sure. Without further ado, I'd like to invite my panelists for today. Please put your hands together for Saji Kumar, Director M&A Alliances at Microsoft. Saji, brilliant you could join us all over again. Outstanding to have you, sir.
Thank you, Arjun. Really excited to be back here with all these panelists here.
Thank you. Xavier Korean, Director Solutions and Alliances at Dell Technologies. Xavier, lovely you could join us.
Awesome to be here, Arjun.
Thank you. And last but certainly not the least, Amit Chatterjee, IoT Segment Director for APG at Intel. Amit, welcome. Delighted you could join us.
Thank you so much.
I clearly have such an eminent set of panelists that I'm going to kind of take this opportunity to directly jump into it. And Saji, I'm going to come to you with your permission, sir. Is in your estimate, how is Microsoft and how is your estimate at Microsoft, therefore, for smarter enterprises, smarter factories, and smarter industries to actually drive superior business outcomes? And how are you kind of having an outlook on it at a broad level? Saji Kumar.
Yeah, Arjun, it's a wonderful question. So I think I should start with the vision of the company, right? Microsoft itself says, to empower each and every organization in the planet to achieve more. That's where we all come from as an organization strategy, right? So the way we look at in any product innovation for Microsoft, it helps unlocks the creativity by empowering people to express the ideas more effectively, which sparks innovation by itself. We really strive to build the technology that augments human creativity. That is the basis of our entire innovation, which we are looking at today, right? So especially in this age of lightning speed connectivity, the connected devices play a very key role in the emerging fields of IoT or AI or blockchain and stuff like that, right? So the modern engineering creates a culture. It creates tools and practices focused on developing high quality, high secure and feature-rich services to enable digital transformation. So a clearly defined set of objectives addressing business problems and opportunities is the starting point for any organization wanting to engage in or want to move into a digital transformation mode, right? Once this set of objectives have been defined, implementing solutions in principle is not much complicated. That's when, industry leaders like Microsoft, Dell, and Intel can play a key role. So that's how we look at this transformation in
Very,
totality.
very, very interestingly put, because I picked up a few words that you did mention. You spoke about the whole concept of innovation and you spoke about augmentation of human creativity. Xavier, I'm going to come to you. It's often been said that the road to digital is fundamentally human. Now, when you kind of look at that and you look at the whole concept of smarter factories today, how do you see technology and human capital kind of coming together to seize the opportunity that lies? Xavier Kurian.
Arjun, it's a interesting point you brought up, because everything that we do today and everything that's done in our factories, everything that's done in pretty much every field that people interact with in today's market is creating data, right? And that's the absolute truth behind all of it. Every bit of that data has value. Now, how to go and collect that data, how to go analyze and monetize that data is what a lot of these technologies are working towards, right? Now, there are multiple ways you can go and collect that data. So if you look at architectures that we're working on to move away from your central monolithic data center based architecture to distributed architectures, edge data centers, what telco is talking about, edge collection points, what's happening in factories, all of those pieces are going towards collecting the data. Once you've collected the data, you've got to have methods of storing it. And there are a bunch of technologies towards that as well. Are you going to store it in a database? Are you going to store it in a flat file, for example? There's technologies that are coming about on how to go store this data. And then there's the question of where to go store it. And you can go store it on-premise storage. You can go put it onto the cloud. You might want to put some of it here, some of it on-prem, some of it on cloud. Going and enabling those technologies is going to be what creates that innovation for the future. Now, you asked me what is it that factories are doing, and every time each of these steps start getting covered, the factories and the solutions that are out there start working towards innovative ways of using that data, and that's what the real objective of most of our solutions is.
Thank you. I couldn't have put it better, because I'm going to precisely bring that to you, Amit. Xavier just spoke about the whole concept of data and its centrality to driving superior operations. My question to you is, when you look at data capital, how, in your view at Intel, do you see data capital being the foundation for business value augmentation? That, Amit, would be very, very interesting to know from your perspective. Amit Chatterjee.
Again, thanks, Arjun. Xavier and actually Saji has already covered most of the aspect. I would like to believe that our ex-CEO said this first: data is the new oil, even though there were few people who said it right at that particular time. And the transformation that Intel is going through to actually become a data-centric organization. Now, what exactly do you mean? Like what Xavier said, how do I ingest the data first properly? How do I transport the data? How do I think on that data? And then how do I act on that data? So essentially, there are just three broad aspects that we have to think about, which is sense, think, and act, right? Now, like I said, data is the new oil. We all know about all the big companies who control our data sets. Google, for example, Facebook, for example, they are valued because they have a lot of data, right? Similarly, if organizations are collecting this particular data, they are creating value for themselves. Once you have the data, actually getting all the next steps are fairly simple. It's not that difficult from that point of view. And what to choose, what technology to choose, which one makes sense, which one doesn't make sense, I think that's the big aspect. And to solve that, what Intel is trying to do is, again, work with Dell and Microsoft to create what we call it as market-ready solutions, right? Essentially, pre-validated bunch of solutions that come out and that you just go ahead and position in front of the customer so that they get an idea on it. They need not take that exactly as is, copy it, but they get an idea around that, okay, this is the possible way by which we can proceed, go ahead and say that, okay, these are the values that we can drive. So that's how I would like to say that data, primary aspect, collection, so sense, think, and act are the three basic steps that anybody will do. whether it's a human or a machine, and then finally give some recommendations. I will call them as recommendations to the customer, saying that, okay, these are the things that people have done, bring about the learnings from across the globe, and then bring it in front of the customer such that they can think on it and accordingly adopt it.
Very, very interestingly put, because Saji, if you kind of look at what and how Amit has articulated the whole narrative of the plurality of data, really. My question to you, therefore, is how, Saji, do you see connected and smarter factories ushering in a new wave of productivity and a surge in optimization to power industry to more sustainable innovation and growth? Because one can't be seen away from the other. Saji Kumar.
Absolutely. So especially in today's scenario where the entire world has gone through a total change, right? This question is more relevant. The smart manufacturing, or what you call the new connected engineering and stuff like that, has led to what's being called the fourth industrial revolution by itself, or the industry 4.0 as we call it, where
Indeed.
manufacturers utilize, let's say, the cloud technology to store and access vast amount of data that can be used in applications within a factory or across the entire supply chain by itself.
Yeah.
So they see a lot of benefits in doing this, right? The so-called smart manufacturing, right? It not only just improves your productivity, but it can also lead to higher innovations and higher quality products, which is beneficial for their end users or end customers. It also creates a lot more, not just the top line or bottom line, but it creates more manufacturing job opportunities. And also, it saves a lot of energy, what we call as power efficiency or energy efficiency. So this so-called smart manufacturing process itself brings in a lot of benefits, which is directly and indirectly visible to your organization. So the smart factories, like you say, can definitely usher in a productive environment and more optimized environment, thanks to all these leading to sustainable innovations and growth.
Very, very powerfully put. Because Xavier, I'm going to bring that to you. Now, you're at the center, elbow deep in solutioning. And given your vast experience, how do you feel that Dell, along with the overall partnership ecosystem that you have, is today bringing out solutions with the necessary innovation to kind of help them forge bolder and more resilient journeys ahead? Xavier.
Arjun, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about around that, right? So first, we are actually, if you look at it from a larger evolution standpoint, I actually believe that we are at the beginning of that evolution, right? Today, for factories, and when I say factories, I'm talking about organizations with limited deep technical knowledge towards going and implementing this, find it difficult to go choose how to go implement this, how to go deploy this, and how to get it running. Now, many of them understand the benefits of it. Let me give you an example, right? You can use machine learning or video learning to make your production line dynamic, right? I was talking to a friend of mine in HR who runs a large factory, and what she was saying is the impact of dynamic production lines is not only the fact that you can produce dynamically, is the fact that workers tend to work more efficiently because they have something different to do once in a while, right? The tangible benefits of being able to do something like that is not only in what you absolutely see on the factory floor. The ability to go analyze your supply chain, see what material you have, the ability to go analyze your demand, your order status, and see from your supply to your demand, what is it that factory needs to be doing to be producing just the right thing, and then to go dynamically allocate it so that you keep the worker engaged. All of these things are simply not possible if you went and did it manually. But a machine can look at far more data than a human possibly could. Right? They can make far more accurate decisions with that huge set of data. And those are some of the absolute tangible benefits that factories are starting to see. What we've been doing is working towards going and enabling how to go do that. I'll be honest, most of the conversations I've had, uh, organizations struggle to figure out how. They have the idea, right? They have the idea, hey, I want to be able to go and dynamically allocate my warehouse to production line, right? I want to be able to bring in stuff from my warehouse onto my production line. I don't want to bring more than what is required. I don't want to bring less than what is required, but I want my production line to be well supplied. And it's super complicated when you go try and do that manually. For a machine, it's a very small, system, but it's difficult to set up. What is the data you're going to look at? How are you going to go tag the locations of that data? How are you going to load it onto the production line? How are you going to integrate the two applications, the warehouse application and the production line application? Each of those pieces is things that we are looking at, and we're putting it together. Like Amit said, we're putting together reference architectures on how would you go and set some of these things up. We've got the experts.
Indeed.
We've got the experts that can help companies set those things up. That's the intent.
Very nice, because Amit, could I bring that to you? Now, you at Intel, cutting edge technology, with IoT and sensors being the bedrock of smarter factories today, of smarter industries today, what are the real life applications of data by itself in driving superior business outcomes for sure, but also for societal good and workplace safety? Because that's something at this juncture that we are in life is a very, very critical area. What's your estimate on how organizations and the wonderful audience that's listening and tuning into us right now should put down as the first steps to achieve or move along that path or the journey?
Actually, before I start, I would like to quote a nice article by Mr. Prakash Iyer that came out last in August, Bridge to Nowhere, right? You could possibly have a read at that. It's a very nice article. It essentially talks about an amazing bridge, fantastic, best in class, but it's not going anywhere because the road to
This
the
was
bridge,
one in Chile, wasn't it?
yes, it is. So that's essentially what we are trying to do, right? We are trying to, I would say, architect and offer adaptable solutions, the likes of the great Indian Jugaad, right? Understand that whenever we are talking about organizations or whenever we are interfacing with organizations, they are all in a fix of, okay, how do I calculate the ROI, right? How do I actually figure out that, okay, this will make sense or this will not make sense? There
Indeed.
are organizations, very large organizations, who understand digital technologies, will possibly have some experts sitting in their panel and everything, or consultants sitting in their panel. To go talk to them is fairly simple, fairly easy, because to them, data is important. They know what is going on in their factory. They would have done some kind of digitization already. They might have on-prem servers. They might have some hybrid cloud setup. All of those will be possibly done, right? But what happens to the last mile? What happens to the people like, for example, the micro, small, and medium enterprises? These are 15, 20 odd people organizations, right? The small ones. Do you expect them to have an IT team over there? No, it's not, right? So how do I ensure that the solutions like what Saji talked about and Xavier talked about, that these are manageable devices, self-deployed, they just come up like magic, completely secure, have the data coming in with the right format, and there are different formats, because remember, if I have to quote India, or even for that matter China, we are mixed industry organizations. So some of them are in industry 2.0, some of them are in 3.0, maybe very few, or maybe a segment of it is in 4.0, right? So when we are talking about these discrete kind of devices, all different protocols, how do we just collect all of these and make it happen? Right? That's essentially what the whole innovation is, and making it as easy as possible for the end customer to deploy. The reason why I feel that we are at the right verge is because of two factors. One is obviously the cost of compute itself. I'm pretty sure the kind of compute that we would like to do when we were growing up, Sun Sparc machine would like cost a bomb, right? Now, a simple Core i7 or a simple Core class machine is able to do a lot of the work that people are looking at. Can I just have these kind of boxes, just connect and do the analytics for you and bring in the value that that the organization want, is essentially what is happening today. There are real life examples of small factories getting value. I would like to quote an example here. There is a small welding factory in Pune. It's a 50 member organization, does pipe welding. They came up with a challenge that, okay, guys, we would like to monitor the weld quality. Can you just tell us what's the likely solution would be, right? So these kind of small organizations are also coming back and saying that, okay, guys, how do I digitize? How do I
Indeed.
go ahead and create value for myself? The terms like OE improvement, terms of resource utilization, just-in-time inventory, or what Dell is pioneer on, just-in-time inventory, but like, for example, the inventory turnaround ratio. All of these are jargons, not something, no more are jargons to organizations, especially at least in the small and medium enterprises. So how can all of these can be enabled together with the right experts and solution providers is what we are trying to offer and enable for the factories. I would say that is the path ahead.
Very, very interesting, because Saji, I'm going to come to you with a very, very important question, and I speak on behalf of the audience here. This journey to digitization, or the journey of digitization, can often be a very complex journey. Now, for the wonderful folks that are tuning in to us, what is your essential guidance on how they should even approach this journey? Because we all understand that smarter factories, smarter enterprises is the road to nation building, resilience, agility, and superior business outcomes. But how should they even go about it is sometimes the question. How do you, in your experience, kind of explain how folks should be balancing each cog of this machine, really?
Yeah. I think, Arjun, I will talk with relevance to the current pandemic scenario we are all going through, right? So from a Microsoft standpoint, we would like to see this in three phases. We call it the response, the recovery, and the reimagination. Response is simply responding to the immediate impact, what we all did when we saw this coming through, right? So we all closed our offices, cutting costs, cutting manpower, and the likes, right? That was kind of a knee jerk, and it's what we call as a response. Then the recovery phase, which is already underway for the last 4 to 5 months. If you look at in many places, we have done a lot of learning over the time, and we did a lot of recovery. Now comes the most important phase, which we call as a reimagination for any industry, be it a large enterprise or a SME or anybody of that sort, right? This is the period in which the innovations born of necessity during the previous two phases will have to emerge. Because what are customers looking for today? They are looking for a very secured, enterprise-ready, easy deployable and manageable solution actively for their organizations. I think that is when integrating with the right set of IT partners is the key. Amit touched upon a point, right? So even small or large organizations, they would like to focus on their core competency, not spending time on IT. They may not even have an IT department or a senior IT leader to drive their IT strategy. So that's when integrating with the leaders, right? The collaboration of, let's say, Dell plus Microsoft plus Intel plays a key role in providing the most effective solution. So I would also like to conclude this by summarizing what our CEO Satya Nadella said recently. He said, in order to deliver the experiences our customers need for the mobile first or a cloud first world, we will modernize our engineering process to be customer obsessed, data driven, speed oriented, and quality focused. I think that's how I would like to put it.
Very, very outstanding. Because Xavier, I'm going to come to you with, please do correct me if for want of a better word, I'm calling it a dichotomy of sorts. Is this whole concept, and Saji mentioned it very beautifully, between response, which is reflex, and reimagination. There's a sizable gap. How should organizations even approach that journey in your estimate? And how are you at Dell helping them then accordingly reimagine in the fashions that they would need to?
Arjun, we actually believe that there's never going to be one solution that fits everyone, right? Every organization is going to be a little bit different on what they really require. I'll explain this with some examples. a manufacturing company, for their supply chain, they need to be looking at their ancillary suppliers, right? For example, or their raw material suppliers. Whereas if that's manufacturing of automobiles or something like that, for example. If you look at the other side of the manufacturing spectrum, and I call agriculture some part of manufacturing today, or large agriculture.
Indeed.
So their supply chain or their raw materials are fertilizer or manpower or many of those things. Every industry you go look at, there's going to be differences as to what is it that they need to go do to go create this end-to-end visibility. The first step, I believe, is to go decide on how you're going to go put this together and how much you want to go, what your long-term plan is. The downside, and like what Amit said, the ability to go put this strategy together is limited with many of the smaller companies. But it's important to be able to put that thought process early on and say that 2.5 years or 4 years from now, I am going to have end-to-end visibility of my supply to demand, right? So finding the application vendor, finding the SI, finding the partner that can help you put this strategy together is the first step. The second step is to put together which pieces I'm going to go execute first, right? What is my rollout plan? How am I going to go make this real? Where am I going to create the visibility pockets first, right? That's the second step. And once you decide these two, going and rolling it out is actually fairly easy. So the difficult part is actually making that decision and deciding where you need to go spend the money. And the decision of where to go spend the money is dependent on what you think is coming in your specific industry. In manufacturing, for example, you might say that I want machine maintenance as my first priority. In the dairy industry, they may say that I want quality control as my first priority. In the large scale agriculture space, they may say that I want plant health as my first priority. So what I'm going to do first, how I'm going to tie each piece out, and how I'm going to tie to my suppliers. So if I'm in the manufacturing space and I'm buying steel, I want my system to be able to talk to my vendors of steel to tell them when I need more. I don't want a person to be making those decisions.
Indeed.
That's what the future holds, and the technology exists. It's about bringing all of it together today.
You used a very interesting, very important word, really, according to me, and you said the future, because I do have a view on the clock, gentlemen, and I know each of you have to get back to your desks and to your work. Amit, I want to come to you with an interesting question. Forgive me for singling you out on this, but when you look, and given your vast spectrum of a view that you have, with technology at its centrality, one prediction on technology for smarter industries that you are able to fairly make for the future? Amit Chatterjee.
So I think Xavier and Saji has already said it earlier. There is no one solution that will fit. It's not possible, right? Even for example, if you think about it, there are people who sometimes like WhatsApp. There are some people who would like some other messenger service. Different people have different things around it, right? Similarly, when we talk about Industry 4.0 or industries of the future for that matter, everybody will have a slightly variant of their requirement, right? Essential part of it is nothing but digital, nothing more than that, right? I think that's the basic backbone that's going to happen. And that is already started. People have already understood why they need to digitize and what are the things that they are thinking about. Now, please understand that Industry 4.0 is a pretty large pill to swallow. It's not for, I'm not saying that it's for everyone, but it's definitely something that is a big concept. It's a concept. Think about it as a very large, as in a wide concept. But you can start with pieces, small pieces of it. Like what Xavier talked about, that, okay, what is important for me? Is
In
inspection
the
more important for
immediacy
me?
of thing, in the
Exactly.
immediacy of time.
You think about this as Lego blocks. You remember those nice nice things that we used to build together? You start with blocks and you suddenly will see, oh, I have built a car, or I have built a machine or something else. You will see it shaping up. If you think through those building blocks and pieces, they are matching together and fixing it together. If you build up with that particular strategy, essentially what you will see is everything falling in line and everything coming up to the value that these organizations are looking for. Whether it's a small organization, medium, large, doesn't matter, even micro for that matter, right? What are the things that are the most burdensome for you, right? And with that, when we move forward, that's the whole idea would be. Now to give, how do I call it, their seeing is believing. I believe in that particular principle very strongly, at least in India, right?
Indeed.
Concepts can be sold, or other concepts can be given to enterprises in Europe and US fairly okay. People understand those. But when you are coming to India as a context, or digitization in India, you have to show them the value, right?
Indeed.
And that is what is happening with what Xavier is talking about, with Saji is talking about, that we call it a solution cookbook. Similarly, the recipes that are there, right? You think about what you want to cook. Okay, I want to have some non-veg or veg or whatever your preferences are. Similarly, your digital technologies would be that preferences. But we give you the cookbook and we say that, okay, guys, this is how it connects. These are the small recipes that you need to put, and look how amazing it comes out.
Outstanding, outstanding. Couldn't have put it better. And I think this has been a brilliant session. Xavier, I'm sorry, you wanted to?
Arjun, I want to put that in one line. Every time I speak to the manufacturing guys, I say, don't spend money on anything that doesn't give you an edge. And once you've spent money on getting an edge, keep it sharp.
Outstanding. That was brilliantly put. But folks, I do have a view on the clock. Saji, Amit, Xavier, as always, it's been nothing short of a privilege to have been in dialogue with you. But in the audience, folks, Saji Kumar, Amit Chatterjee, and Xavier Kurian, just join me for this discussion on Industry 4.0 and autonomous industry. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It has been a
Thank
privilege.
you. Pleasure. Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
To the audience, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment with the next segment. Stay safe.
Hi everyone, I'm sure you all have enjoyed the digital dialogues thus far, focusing on diverse business and technology aspects of Industry 4.0. Well, now comes the concluding but very exciting part of this episode, a session titled In Focus. I'm extremely delighted, and indeed it's my pleasure to introduce the host and anchor of In Focus, Mr. Sri Krishna Venkataraman, Partner Marketing Manager, Dell Technologies India. Over to you, Sri Krishna, for In Focus.
Good morning, friends, and welcome back to In Focus with Kapil Dev, episode 3. We continue where we left off last week and talk about changes that swept through the cricketing landscape over the decades, and Kapil Dev powering through it towards greatness. To be very frank, any conversation with Kapil Dev would be incomplete if I do not bring in two instances in your career that probably defines your aggressive intent as a player. One is Tunbridge Wells, obviously. India versus Zimbabwe, 17 for 5. And Kapil comes in and plays a typical captain knock, 175. Second is Lord's 1990, wherein India requires 24 runs to avoid follow-on. Kapil Dev batting with Hirvani, and Eddie Hemmings is the bowler. And first two balls you block, next four, you hit it out of the park, and India avoids follow-on. And which was at the retrospect very good, because Hirvani was out the very next ball. So did you go by instinct on both these occasions? Is that your personality?
Not really. I'll give you a topic of both the side when I made 175. Uh, uh, I didn't know what happened because I was inside. I went for inside in the dressing room. Within 5 minutes, 4 people out. So I didn't get chance to put my head what happened. And suddenly I put my pad and went into the ground. And there I asked my colleague Yash what happened. He said, "Aa rahe hain aur ja rahe hain. They are not, staying, but it's just missing, not missing the bat, it's taking the edge." I said, "Okay, don't worry, we'll try our best." But halfway through, I realized that, you know, God have created few days special for you. God have created all the days special, but few are very, very special days. And halfway through, I realized today is my special day. And don't do anything stupid or don't do anything wrong, because God have given you this day, use the maximum. And that's what it happened. So I planned very slowly what happened. As Sunil Gavaskar said once, you cannot make 100 on one ball or 1 over. You have to make 10, then make 25, then make 40. Your target should be keep on increasing. Then you will make 100. But why you want to start thinking on the very first ball, I want to make 100? Make 10 runs. That's more important. Then 100 will come. And that's what it happened. And second thing, what you asked me about 4-6s, yes, that was I planned. I planned first 2 balls to give impression to the bowler that I'm not going to hit. And me and Hirvani, the best thing happened about him, we both never talk in English. Neither he or I knew very much. And I was talking to him in English so the team of England can understand what we are talking. So I said to him, just stay there. So I give impression I'm just staying there. That's why first 2 balls block and next 2 balls pre-planned. If you see, if I've seen my footage, I remember that. Second, a third, fourth ball, I went pre-planned. I said, I have to get a lot of runs as much as. Third 6, I didn't plan. It was within my range. And I was in a flow. When you are in a flow, don't stop. And 6th ball also, the same thing. I didn't jump out. It was in my range or in my target of hitting the ball. So it happened. Sometimes you don't plan, the things happen. You have to keep on thinking positive, then the plan execute.
Absolutely brilliantly put, sir. Kapil, are you a superstitious person? Does superstition play heavily? Even if you can give examples of anybody else in your playing days as well, an Indian team.
I think everybody, let's put it that human mind is so much like that, and cricket is much more because it's a game of 1 ball. When that 1 ball will come out, first ball or 100th ball or 200th ball, you don't know. So you are always being conscious about that. So superstition, like Mohinder Amarnath used to take a red hanky in his back pocket. So once he performed, he feels that was the positive thing. Like I always try to put my front foot, right foot forward when I'm crossing the boundary. Never put my left. So everybody has their own. I always had or still have few things more like positive thing. If I do some positive, I keep on thinking on that side. That's my superstition.
I remember 2 instances, Kapil. Once I saw an interview of Krishnamacharya Shrikant, wherein he said that he had a huge hand, in your innings of 175, and all of us were wondering what is he referring to. And then he said that it was a fairly cold day in Tunbridge Wells, and he had gone out for a smoke when you started your innings. And since you started to play well, the team actually threatened him not to enter the dressing room. He was entire innings, he was outside smoking. So that's what he meant when he said that he had a huge hand in your innings of 175. And the second thing that I remember is something that is personal. you know, my father was a big fan of Krishnamachari Srikanth, the way he used to play. And during those days, playing days, we did not have live televisions, or it was only Doordarshan and no internet or mobiles where you can, you know, see the scores or follow. So we used to get phone calls from my dad's office, and he used to call, you know, hey, what is the score? Now, how much has Srikanth hit? And the moment he used to ask, Srikanth used to get out. So, you know, so these are things not even, I think superstition is something that is even, you know, forced onto people, even though if they believe or don't believe. But these are two funny incidents that came to my mind, Kapil.
Because superstition, basically your negative thought become more powerful. But it happened with me. One day, I'll give you a small incident. I was playing in England and I square cut. I had a gold chain up to here, and that chain hit my helmet when I put it and gone with the full swing. It swung to the helmet. And the appeal took place, and I was like shattered because I didn't touch the ball and they didn't have a third umpire during that period. And in that same evening, I went, put the chain, asked for blessing, and I said, my ability will make me play. And that's what had happened. After that, I tried to stop thinking negative and superstition.
Get it, sir. So, Kapil, when we go back to the start of your career, you know, you came into prominence in an era when India were not known for its fast bowlers. You know, we were known more for our spin quartet and spinners. I mean, not in a negative way, but we had fast bowlers to basically take the shine of the new ball. We have had instances wherein Sunil Gavaskar has opened bowling for us in Test match cricket. Now, with all these, what made you become a fast bowler? What was your thinking?
Certain things, sometimes things happen with accident. And in my school, I was maybe a slightly well-built in my age group. In school, a teacher only give a new ball to the person who looked little big and tall. So my teacher given me, and the second, as a cricketer, when you see new ball in your hand, you enjoy more. Doesn't matter, maybe spinner. When he picked up, he also liked to have a new thing. New chariot would call, a new ball you get. So I was lucky. I was good enough to bowl in those matting turf during that period. And I bowled decent. I wouldn't say I was quick, but I got so much praise within yourself and I start working hard. That's what it happens. Sometimes you don't want to do things. You land into the situation where there is no other option. So I think new ball was one school. Every evening we used to get 2 new balls to play among ourselves. And that's what it happened.
Absolutely golden words, Kapil. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful participation. We are extremely happy that we could bring this lovely episode of the Digital Dialogues Season 2 Industry 4.0. Can you please fill up your feedback form, because your feedback is really important to us, because this helps us to enrich future events that we will continue to bring to you. Stay tuned and we will be back again on September 29th with the episode 4 of the Digital Dialogues, the grand finale. Till then, please do take care of yourself, stay safe, and thank you so much.